Okay, so what you see in front of you now is the ingredients and supplies that we need to make the hand lotion. We have some organic shea butter, some homemade herbal infused oil that's in the bowl. It does still have some plastic wrap on it. I had made that for a different recipe and had extra left over, so I'm going to be using that. You do not need to infuse the oil with herbs, but if you'd like to, then that is fun. Just do your research to know which herbs are appropriate to use for any type of topical recipe. We also have vitamin E, that is the preservative. We do have distilled water, very important that it is distilled and not regular tap water to lengthen the shelf life of the lotion. Then we do have a weight measure so that we can go ahead and weigh out the ingredients. When we mix them together, first we will use a double boiler for most of the ingredients, everything except for the distilled water. When we do add the distilled water, we'll go ahead and use the electronic whisk to whisk that in at the end, as well as adding the vitamin E at the end as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you how it's done. We'll get started. Okay, so now it's time to go ahead and weigh out the ingredients. First of all, we will want to weigh out the shea butter and the oil into a bowl. So I have my weighing machine right here that I'll go ahead and turn on. I'm going to be doing this in grams. So first of all, I have an empty, clean bowl that I do see is currently 87 grams empty. I'm going to go ahead and tare that so it goes down to 0. And then first of all, you do want to add the shea butter, which is approximately 34 grams. Okay, there we go. And then next we're going to add the oil, which should be approximately 84 grams. So since I already have 34 grams right here, I'm just going to go ahead and add to this. So it should be coming up to a total of 118 grams once the correct amount of oil is in. Okay. Okay, and so next I'm going to go ahead and measure out the wax separately from the shea butter and oil. And the reason I'm measuring it separately is I do want to let the oil and the shea butter melt a little bit and then slowly add in the wax once it is time. I'm just going to use a little paper towel here to put the wax on. And then I want 9 grams of wax pellets. Okay, there's 9 grams. Okay, and so now it's time to go ahead and melt the shea butter and oil into one mixture. So I do have a little bit of water at the bottom of this pot. I will stick the bowl on top to do a double boil and go ahead and start to melt the ingredients together. This needs to be at a low to medium low heat. And you do want to keep stirring it as the shea butter melts. just because you want it to melt and heat up as evenly as possible. You don't want to get it any hotter than it needs to before we go ahead and add in the wax. Okay, the shea butter is pretty much melted, so we will go ahead and add in the wax now. So I'll go ahead and add that, and then I'm going to stir constantly and only until the wax and everything is just barely melted. That's it. We do not want it to get boiling or super hot, just long enough until it gets melted. Okay, and so now that the butter and oil are melted together, as well as the wax, I'm going to go ahead and add the vitamin E. This is a preservative. For this recipe, you would want about 1/4 teaspoon of vitamin E oil added. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and mix this together, and then once that does seem evenly distributed, I am going to go ahead and transfer it to a bowl with a little bit higher of size, so that when I do start to go ahead and whisk in the water, that it won't spray all over my kitchen. Okay, so now that I've moved everything into a higher sided bowl, I will go ahead and whisk this up with approximately 1/2 cup of distilled water. I'm going to be adding it slowly as I am mixing everything in. Okay, and I'm just going to finish this by mixing for about another minute or so. Hopefully I can figure out how to put it on mute in case that was extremely loud. All right. Okay, as you can see, we have finished mixing. The lotion is actually finished. So I'm gonna go ahead and transfer it into this glass jar. This is where I usually keep the lotions that I make. It is probably only enough for one person for a half a year or a year or so, depending on how much you use lotion. But anyways, I will show you exactly how much it is. Once it's in that jar, it'll be easier to see. So we finished the lotion and transferred it into the container that I will store it in. It is not as much lotion as I originally was hoping for, but it's definitely a good amount that will last for a while. The consistency is also really good as well, very lotiony. So anyways, I hope you guys like this. Give us a like and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see in the future.